Hello there, YouTube. Classic Reviewer here, back with another one of my nostalgia um, childhood favorite movies. Today I'm looking at a DreamWorks movie from the year 2000 that I grew up on and I loved throughout my childhood. Still love it. It's an amazing movie. Has an incredible cast. It features the amazing singing talent of Elton John, and just yeah, it's an amazing movie. The story, which I'll go over a bit in today's video, is fantastic and just such a story of friendship, loyalty, and just general wackiness. And yeah, so today's movie is to the Road to El Dorado, which one of my all-time favorite animated movies from DreamWorks. Um yeah, got Kevin Kline's here as this character Tulio. Kevin Kline as Tulio here. And you got Kevin Branagh, I think is how you pronounce his name. Correct me if I'm wrong. As Miguel here. These two guys are conmen from Spain. They are, so lots of hilarity, and yeah, this movie takes place during the discovery of the Americas. Yes, so lots of wacky and fun things happen. Also, you've got where is she? Yep. You got Rosie Perez as Shell here. She'll be important later on in the story. Is it Rosie? Yeah, Rosie Perez. Her character name in the movie is Shell. And so yeah, here's what the movie is about. The movie opens with Tulio and Miguel playing game of dice with some strangers in a back alleyway. The so basically it's a game of having to guess what numbers being rolled on the dice. So if you guess a number, then you win. Then your opponent rolls. Well, you get a point. You don't win. You get a point. Then your opponent rolls. If they don't get that number, then they don't get a point, and the team with the most points ends up winning the pot or prize or whatever you want to call it. So basically, because Tulio and Miguel are con men, they prefer to use loaded dice that have been weighted down to favor certain numbers. That's how they managed to become so successful. And basically, the other guy, who has basically wasted all his money at this point, is willing to bet probably his last thing that he can bet on before he starts taking his clothes off and then start betting them away, is a map to the New World, specifically El Dorado, hence the name of the movie, The Road to El Dorado. Tulio, who is very cautious and whatever, is initially against this idea, but Miguel, who's very adventurous, adventurous, very, what's the word? He likes to act without thinking, that's what I'm saying. He's one of those kind of characters, and yeah, through some quick persuasion, what have you, he convinces Tulio to go one more round to bet everything they have against this map. But as Tulio's about to roll the dice, the other guy tells him to use tells Tulio to use the dice that he has because he's getting suspicious of them winning. And so basically they have to use unloaded dice in order to get the magic number, which is a 7. They have to use 2 dice, so he gets a 4 and a 3 in order to get a 7, and yeah, he manages to get the 7. So as Tulio and Miguel are raking up the winnings, getting the coins, what have you, his own dice roll out of his top pocket, land on a 7. The other guy, curious, starts rolling them, and like after 3 or 4 tries, always gain a 4 and a 3. No, 5 and a 2. Sorry, 5 and a 2, 7. Yeah, he's convinced that these guys are con men and have conned him out of his money. So he basically points to a nearby guard to arrest them, and basically what happens next is just pure magic. Julio and Miguel, well, Julio, sorry, tries making out to the guard that Miguel gave him loaded dice, and they kind of have a mock argument they do, which results in a like mock duel with them insulting each other, just basically playing on a show so that they can both escape with as much gold and the map as they can without anyone noticing, which they managed to do surprisingly well, but unfortunately they didn't realize their escape route also included a bullpen. So that leads to quite a comedic chase through the streets of Spain, well, through the streets of Madrid, I think it is. No, Calais? I can't remember. Madrid or Calais, I can't remember which one, but through one of those cities. Basically, the chase ends up with them on top of a high wall, and they basically have to jump into water barrels in order to get away, which are being loaded onto a nearby ship. Yes, it's a bit unbelievable, but remember, this is a DreamWorks animated movie, so physics and logic kind of goes out the window, as we all know. And yeah, so, but unfortunately, before they can get out of the barrels and creep away, yeah, the barrels are essentially loaded onto the nearby ship, which is Cortez's personal flagship, which is off to explore the new world and find many places as well as El Dorado along the way to basically see if the new world is worth colonizing for Spain, claiming it for Spain basically. And so for the next few hours they're trapped in the ship until basically because there's the crewmen have unwittingly put like a chest on top of these 2 barrels as soon as it's loaded, so as they try to get out they're unable to because of this giant heavy weight that's on top of them, and it's just a moment of hilarity when they do finally manage to knock it off, because it's like the whole crew is just standing there staring at them. This crew isn't exactly the nicest of crewmen. A lot of them are thugs, a lot of them are criminals and that, so basically, yeah, they undergo a very rough treatment before being brought before Cortez himself, and Cortez just basically tells them for sneaking on board his ship that they're going to be flogged like just given the worst time, dropped off in Cuba, I believe it is. Yeah, Cuba, where at the time it's not like the holiday paradise. It's not kind of like what it is now. It's more of, like sugar plantations and just really hard manual labor sort of thing. Um, and yeah, so basically they're locked in the brig, which for some weird reason they decided to make the cargo hold. I have no idea why. But anyways, the two managed to convince a nearby horse to collect some guard keys for them by promising to give the horse an apple. And yes, again, this is kind of where animated movie logic, it's whatever, you just go along with it. Basically, undercover at night, they use the keys to um get out of the brig, cargo hold, whatever, and sneak off the ship to, well, sneak across the ship to the longboats, the rowing boats, and try to escape. But unfortunately, because Miguel promised the horse an apple, again, movie logic, the horse is very loud and very annoyed at them, so basically, Miguel throws the apple back towards the horse. Unfortunately, like, it ends up missing and ends up going back into the water. The horse jumps over, and so Miguel feels obligated to save the horse, which basically, even though it's a noble thing to do, it kind of put Julio and Miguel at risk, because instead of just lowering the rowboat and safely getting away, yes, I know that's a bit dark and what have you, leaving a horse to die in the middle of the ocean, but at the end of the day, what actually ended up happening was Miguel saving the horse and basically the longboat just getting knocked about, potentially could have been destroyed, and yeah, just generally chaos ensues. Ensues? Yeah, ensues is the word, yeah. Chaos ensues, and basically, yeah, they're left to float around because all their supplies, food supplies, water supplies, have been, waterlogged with seawater and just now useless. So they're just kind of just floating around, waiting to die, basically. Somehow, they managed to make it to land magically where they're supposed to be going, the Americas, and Miguel notices a landmark nearby that looks kind of similar to what's been put on the map as being like the starting point to the road to El Dorado. So Miguel gets really excited and convinces Tulio that instead of trying to head back to Spain in a rowboat, that they should keep going, that now that they're at the start point of their adventure to El Dorado, that they should continue on instead of giving up and just trying to go back, because their lives back in Spain weren't the best. Them being conmen and wanted criminals, like they were constantly on the run in that. So basically, it was either spending time adventuring or going back, potentially not even surviving the trip back, and just not being in for a good time. And so yeah, it goes through this entire adventurous song montage. Song is the trails we blaze. That's it, from by Elton John. amazing music and filmography in that scene. Until basically they end up getting towards. Till they end up in front of this giant stone pillar, which when Julio looks at the map, is basically where the map is marked El Dorado. So he's looking around for this. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. El Dorado is supposed to be a mythical, legendary city of gold, which is the whole reason why they widened the map in the first place. Is because them being con men, they were easily brought in by the aspect of an entire city of gold. Like, what would they be able to do with that kind of wealth? Would they be able to sell it to kings and queens and become very powerful? Would they be able to own that? This, that, and the other. It's just obviously very dark aspects brought to light by a more kid and family friendly movie sort of thing. So they get to this large rock pillar, and Julio basically gets really annoyed with Miguel for bringing them all the way out here. And because that's what he thinks it is. It's just a map to this giant rock that some adventurer before them had just made up. Well, not made up, had just led them along a journey towards this nowhere place. Like, to get people lost. Like, maybe it was a false map made by natives that, obviously it's not logical thinking, but at this point, Tulio's just too annoyed at Miguel's over enthusiasm sort of thing on this entire crazy quest. Then all of a sudden, this native girl who happens to be Shell Rosie Perez, as I mentioned earlier, she is very important to this plot. Appears running towards them, like not noticing them, like carrying this very sacred symbol of the of El Dorado. Yes, El Dorado in this movie is an actual place that we end up going to. And she is hotly pursued. Like, it's like there are native gods, El Dorado and whatever gods chasing her, like very close behind. She ends up running into Tulio and Miguel. She does, and yeah, sorry guys, just love talking, hurts my throat, but anyway, she ends up running into them, and after a bit of initial confusion of, whoa, there's people of different skin, like, and Julio and Miguel, like, were like, oh, there's natives brandishing weapons at us, like, don't hurt us, and this, that, and the other, we come in peace, sort of thing. The guardsmen, who have no idea what to do, take their prisoner back to El Dorado and take Julio and Miguel with them, like, for their high priest and chieftain to decide what should be done with them, because sorry, just trying to think. Just basically take them along this secret passageway towards the city of El Dorado, which is a very magnificent sight when you first see it in the movie. It's just amazing visualization and what have you. And Tulio and Miguel are just, like, speechless, basically, at just the sight of this amazing city that they just, well, this entire nation culture that they had no idea even existed. Like, they just laughed at being a legend or a myth. So, yeah, so that's all I've got time for in today's episode. I will definitely be finishing this review in another video. I just don't want to keep you guys here waiting for a long time. So I'm gonna finish it off here, and yeah, just hope you guys have an amazing day, evening, wherever you guys are. Hope you guys like the video. If you do, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, comment any thoughts you have of this movie or any of my other content that I've uploaded, and just, yeah, have an amazing, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.